Hello and welcome to some more Hot Drops, episode 10 with me, PMC317. Today I'm going to be playing a game I've not played for a very long time, which is MechWarrior Online. Such a long time in fact that when I first loaded this up again to get myself used to it so that I wouldn't make an enormous fool of myself today, I had 38 patches to install. So we're going to go straight into the action today in my Commando, which is outfitted with an SRM-4 and a tag laser. We went for Grim Plexus and Skirmish after the little vote, and I'm not going to apologise whatsoever for keeping this sequence in, because I think this animating sequence is one of the best bits of the game. I just love it. I love the atmosphere it gives and the feel it gives of really being inside one of these machines. So the role of this commando is entirely support. The single short-range missile set of tubes that it has, 4 shots, does hardly any damage at all, and is really only there to provide a little bit of a sort of a punch in case I get attacked directly. The main role of this setup is to go behind or alongside the enemy and spot for my own team's long-range missiles or streak missiles, things like that, and also to defeat enemy electronic countermeasures. So this has the benefit usually of keeping me out of the main fight and keeping me alive throughout the majority of the match, which is what happens here. As you can see, most of the team has gone off in a completely different direction to me, and that's absolutely fine because that's the main purpose of my commando. I try and make people aware of that prior to the match, and I think next time what I'll probably do is actually go on voice comms, because I know that I used to do that a long time ago when I was playing this regularly. And I'm also going to get used to the controls a bit more because I'd forgotten how to select targets and things like that. I was spotted fairly early on, as you can see here, and my return fire with the tag laser, obviously entirely ineffective in terms of actual damage output, but I was hopeful that it would alert my team to the presence of the enemy. I then went to try and have a go at this light that had made a pretty good attempt at getting around the back of our team. I didn't know what it was, I just knew that there was a light mech kicking around, and as it came over the rise I could see it was a Jenna, which is usually bad times for me because the 4 medium lasers on the Jenna is a lot of damage output, and as you can see it's really doing a number on my armour. However, I did manage to get quite a lot of tag lock on him, which was good, and it attracted the attention of another light and I think a heavy or an assault who came to try and help out, although to be honest that was probably one of the contributing factors to our defeat in this mission or this match, is that the enemy lights managed to really draw away our heavies and assaults, which meant that the enemy sort of main firepower could really concentrate on a small number of our team at once, destroy them and move on to the next one. With this game, the more mechs you lose, the more mechs you're going to lose. So really, I've found often that the team to take the first couple of casualties is usually the one to lose. Doesn't always happen. Sometimes you get some really good players or some really powerful mechs on your side, and you can, they sort of force multiply. Acquired. But it's definitely what happened in this case. We started taking casualties and we never really recovered. I did my best to try and light up the enemy for long-range missiles, but I don't think there were enough. I don't think there were enough on our side to really make much of an impact.
Center torso, critical damage.
So at this point, I thought I'm probably best to get out because I was attracting far too much attention, and the commando's only a light mech. It's not very tough, and it doesn't take a lot to put it down. I noticed that there was an enemy light mech that had drawn off one of our assaults and another light from my lance. So on my way over there I stopped to try and put some more tag lasers down, and then I went over to try and help out over here, because against light mechs the SRM4 is worth firing, just because light mechs are fairly weak.
What you about expecting?
So I actually managed to get a kill assist, probably on that Jenner. I think that was the only thing I'd managed to hit up until this point. I got a couple of hits in on this Wolfhound. At least I think it's a Wolfhound. Correct me in the comments if you can, or if you know what this mech is. I'm pretty sure it's a Wolfhound, but... See here, there's a light, a medium, and either a heavy or an assault attempting to get this Wolfhound, and that's 3 whole mechs that have been drawn off from the main fight, which enables the majority of the enemy team to concentrate their fire on the rest of our company and really do some serious damage to them. And as you can see, by this point we'd only managed to destroy 1 of their mechs, and they'd knocked out 5? 6?
Can't lose any more soldiers.
So at this point it was very lopsided, and they were very quickly racking up the kills. They've gone from 6 to 8, and there's just me left in my lance now. There's a handful of mechs left.
We've taken
There's
critical losses.
9.
We need you to pull
There's only
through.
3 left on our side now, and there's a 10 on their side.
Target spotted.
And I was still chasing this Wolfhound, attempting to at least do some damage and try and, you know, maybe help a little bit. But by this point it was pretty clear that we lost, and lost badly. So with just me and 1 other mech left,
Critical damage.
I tried my best to help out where I could, get some hits in with the short-range missiles.
Destroyed. Right
But it was only a matter of time
damage.
before things like this king
Left
crab just
torso
pulled me apart.
critical damage.
And I slowed almost to a stop, lost the leg, and then exploded. So it wasn't too bad, I don't think, in terms of a showing.
Come in. Control the surface. Can anyone
Got
read?
1 kill assist. Did 42 damage. And, you know, I think for the Commando, that's not too bad in terms of damage output. And actually, given that the main role of it is for support, well, went alright. As you can see, we were hammered. We killed 2 to their 12. I did alright, 128 match score. Not the worst, not the best. So for the next match, I decided I'd take out my Griffin, which is set up very differently. It's got a PPC and an LRM5, as well as an anti-missile system and some ECM, which I almost always set to disrupt. And what I try and do is I try and stick with my lance and provide support with the anti-missile system and long-range firepower as well. I quite like the Griffin. I've taken all the jump jets off mine though, so it's not as mobile as some others are, because I really prefer adding armour over mobility, although that might change. We did Alpine Peaks and another skirmish. I quite like Alpine Peaks, and you'll see why as the game progresses.
Reactor
I love this scene.
online.
This sequence is just so cool.
Sensors online.
Weapons online, yeah, no, it's amazing.
All systems.
All systems nominal, and then you get shot to pieces throughout the course of the match.
This is command. Eliminate all
Now,
enemies, no
it's been
matter the
ages
cost.
since I've played this map, so I genuinely didn't know where I was going. So I just started wandering off in a random direction, figuring, well,
Sorry.
the rest of them will know where they're going and I'll catch up with them. As it turned out, I think I did probably the right thing by accident, because it enabled me to get some flanking shots off on the enemy once they started to appear in the distance. So I think that's a bushwhacker. which is quite a like, funky little mech. I remember it from MechWarrior 4 Mercenaries, which is an amazing game, and if I can work out how to play that on this computer, I think I'll play that at some point as well, because I love it. I think it's the game that really introduced me to BattleTech and made me love it, made me love the whole story, the background, the mechs, everything. I fell in love with BattleTech through MechWarrior 4 Mercenaries. Okay, so we were trading fire,
Target spotted.
and I got in a couple of shots at long range with the PPC, and actually managed to hit some stuff, which was good, before I started taking fire, so I moved back a little bit to take advantage of the hills. We were actually doing okay as a team. We sort of had a reasonably good defensive position, and we could hold it for a while. And I think if we'd had a bit better communication, again, this goes back to me not being on comms, I think if there were more people on voice comms, we'd probably done alright. I really like the PPC, I like the Griffin. I think it's a funky little mech. The way I play MechWarrior is I really like to support as much as possible, so that's why I fit myself out with ECM and AMS and things as much as I possibly can. All my mechs are ECM capable. So next time I take out my Cataphract and the Cyclops, you'll see that as well. We were giving a little bit of ground, but nothing serious, and it was mostly just to stay behind the hills and avoid the heavy firepower that was coming our way from what seemed like many, many PPCs. Although I suspect it was probably only 1 or 2 mechs that day. Generally, I think this was a good position, and I think if we'd stayed here, we probably would have actually done much better than we did.
Target destroyed.
So I think that kill was actually mine. I know I definitely got a kill in this match, which, you know, puts me ahead of pretty much all of the Apex and Fortnite hot drops that I've done. One of the things I like about MechWarrior Online is that it's very much a team game. It's a bit like Apex in that respect, except instead of teams of 3, it's teams of 12.
Target spotted.
The sound effects are really meaty in this as well, and the mech design is amazing. I think the mech design for this and BattleTech takes a lot of MechWarrior Online designs as well. I think mech design is the best mech design out there. They're really chunky, they look and feel like giant, you know, battle machines. So, contrary to what I was saying earlier, the enemy team actually lost the first mech, but they went on to win. And I think part of that was because they successfully drawn away about half our team, you can see on the map below, and then they pushed with all their heavies and assaults, and this is what I was fighting against at this point. It was a majority of heavy and assaults and a couple of mediums, and at first I thought we were going to be okay because we got another kill and we were 12 against 10, and then it all just went sideways. So they got 1 kill and then very quickly they stacked up a lot of others.
Target destroyed.
But again, like, it seemed okay initially. This catapult appeared to be on some kind of bizarre suicide run, but actually managed to survive the gauntlet of fire, so that was quite impressive. But then they equalised with 3 kills each, and their Atlas turned up, and they got suddenly 4 kills, and then 5 kills, and that was the point at which I thought, okay, this is all going wrong. And the rest of our team was out of position and unable to help. I was getting absolutely hammered, really battered. I couldn't really respond without exposing myself to the sort of firepower that would just gut me.
Critical damage.
I did my best to try and hold them off and fight back as much as I possibly could, which I'm quite proud of. But given that the Griffin is really like a long-range fire support mech, with its PPC and the LRM, it's not designed for a stand-up fight like this, and you can really see that. So there you can see that the enemy team got 7 kills to our 3, and we just, at this point, yeah, it was all over really by the shouting.
Target destroyed.
We got the catapult, but I think that was the last kill that we managed to achieve.
Target
Might
acquired.
be not. I was too busy trying to avoid overheating to really pay attention to what was happening in terms of kill count, other than the fact that I knew that we were losing.
Hit level critical. Hit level critical.
This is the point where I start to fall apart, and then I quite quickly get destroyed after this. Kept going as long as I could.
Taking critical losses. We need you to pull through.
I was one of the last ones to fall, which was great. But there you go, gutted. Engine destroyed. So 1 kill, 3 kill assists, damage done 255. I'm actually really proud of the way I performed in that match, because I managed to keep my medium going almost to the very last. I did quite a fair amount of damage, and really I think the main failing of our team was the point at which they got drawn away, split in half, and then we were picked apart piecemeal. Anyway, if you've enjoyed this video, please do like and subscribe, and if you subscribe, there we go, please ring the little bell, and then get notifications when I post videos, which is around about 6 o'clock GMT every weekday, Monday to Friday. I'm currently playing Apex Legends, Stellaris, XCOM 2, Battletech, and now MechWarrior Online. If you've got any suggestions for games you want me to play or think I should have a look at, please leave them in the comments below, and if you've got anything to say about the games themselves, again, leave them in the comments. I always like to chat to people. I hope you have a good week, and I will see you all on Monday for some more Apex Legends.